Hey, I'm JRLA. Welcome to another episode of the Banking on Digital Growth podcast. Here's a tough truth. Most financial brands think they're doing digital marketing that's going to lead to digital growth, but what they're really doing is just digital decoration. You know, campaigns, they look good. Messaging sounds polished, but conversions, well, conversions are lacking, stagnant, flat. And no one's quite sure why that is, but there are many institutions right now that I see who are relying on the art of marketing, the intuition they have, the design, the look, the feel, their gut instinct. And they're doing this without the science of marketing, the science to measure, to test, to improve what actually works. That's why on today's episode of the Banking on Digital Growth podcast, I'm joined by my co-host, Derik Krauss, and we're going to explore how financial brands can stop guessing and start growing by transforming marketing from a creative expense into a data-driven growth engine. Now, before we get too far into our conversation, I have a quick question for you. Are you guessing? Are you guessing or are you testing when it comes to your website? That's because my friends over at Metrify, they've made it easy for you to stop guessing and start testing. So text me right now, 832-240-1922, and I'll show you how you can benchmark your website for free against other banks and credit unions in just 2 minutes. Derik, let's talk data. Let's talk science. Let's talk art, because they're all interconnected when it comes to organizations, financial brands looking to maximize their digital growth. But sometimes there's an imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see this imbalance between art, data, science come up through the work that you're doing with financial brands?
Yeah, it probably helps if I give a little bit of background. So I've been working with financial institutions for 10 years, and most of that work has been in doing website design and development for them. And the way that we got started in doing that work is we were building websites that were very beautiful, aesthetically pleasing. And as a result, I remember the first credit union we worked with, we built a new website for them, and Tanya Gale over at Elevate Credit Union. She came back later and said, "Hey, the website won a Diamond Award." And we were like, "That's awesome. What's a Diamond Award?" And, we came to find out that that's a prestigious award in the industry. And this was at a time where we were working with a lot of different clients and a lot of different industries. We hadn't chosen to work with financial institutions as our niche, but gradually after that, we started looking around in the world of financial institutions, and we said, "Wow, there are a lot of ugly websites in the industry." So we feel like we can bring our skills that we have with making good-looking websites into this industry. And so that's what we did. And we ended up it snowballed, where we went from working with, one financial institution in one year, and then the next year, I think it was maybe like 5 more, and then 10 more. Anyway, our goal in doing that was to design beautiful websites and to win awards. And that's how we got started. And we did. We won a lot of awards. Won a lot of Diamond Awards.
Reminds me of?
Yeah. Yourself?
Oh. Well, yeah, I've been there. No, I've been there. And I remember it's like you get the reward, you get the award,
Mm-hmm.
you get the award, you get the reward, you get the external validation. Like, oh my gosh, we got the award. And there's what was that movie? The Christmas Story, the cult classic with Ralphie.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watch that every year.
Yeah, the father comes home
with the
leg lamp. He's like, "What is it?"
So funny.
He's like, It's a major
It's a
award.
major award. Yeah.
But but and
Um,
you just recently posted about this on LinkedIn too. Like,
did, yeah.
yes, you're winning awards, but I'm going to quote you. You said, "For a long time, I was focused on the wrong things."
Hmm.
And you tied this back to an article too that you published, and you were comparing and contrasting like the idea that Soviet shoe factors and financial brand websites,
Yeah.
what do they have in common? And it does come back to, well, what's the outcome? What's the why? Why are we even doing this to begin with in the first place? Is it to win awards, or is it something maybe deeper? And is that where the conflict was for you?
Yeah. Because we were designing these websites that looked great and they were winning awards. But then uh, what happens when you're going through that website redesign process is, and this is how it works when you're all just, it's all based on opinions. You
Mm,
talk, like on our team and talking with our clients, you're always talking about, well, how should the user experience be? Because you can design it in any way that you want. So how should you design it? And it was just a battle of opinions. Like, well, I think it should be this way because I think this is what's actually going to be best for the user. But there was no measurement, and that was unsettling to me because we're doing this work and yes, we're winning awards, but I had no idea if we were actually producing the result that we were meant to produce. And the result that we needed to produce is we need to actually help our clients grow. There are real people coming to these websites to check out products and services and interact with a financial institution. And we could not have told you if people were actually converting, if they were actually signing up for loans and accounts. Yeah, like you were saying, there's this external validation, this these superficial awards. And don't get me wrong, uh, everyone likes to win awards. It felt really good to win awards. I still think of those winning those awards fondly, and I still think it's important to for what you're doing on your website and what you're doing in marketing. It should be beautiful. I still believe that. It's
mm.
just those are, if that's as deep as it goes, if that's the primary thing you're measuring, then you've got a problem. And I know firsthand from talking with hundreds of financial institutions about what they're doing in their marketing and how they handle their websites, that's what that's primarily what they're thinking about. And almost none of them are actually measuring what really matters, what they actually should be measuring.
Well, to your point, it is very subjective. The design, the look, and it's
Hmm.
funny. People talk about design, look, and feel,
Yeah.
and and that's where I'm curious. You know, when we think about where we're at right now within financial services, why do you think what we'll call the science of marketing? Because you have the art of marketing, but you also have the science of marketing when it comes to things like A/B testing, conversion tracking, consumer journey analysis, and analytics. Why do you think that the science of marketing is missing within many financial brand teams?
Mm.
What's missing?
I mean,
Why?
my immediate answer was going to be, well, they're just not measuring it. But I feel like the deeper question there is, well, why are
Why?
they not
Correct.
measuring it? Yeah, that's I don't know if there's one answer. I feel like part of it is just that hasn't been part of the culture to measure it. I think part of it is that the vendors that they're working with are not providing that. And it's just, I think digital marketing for a lot of financial institutions is still often secondary to what they're doing. It's easier to not measure it. It's easier just to think, well, this is what I think is going to work, and so we're just going to do that. And it takes extra steps, it takes extra effort, it takes extra time, And a lot of them also, they don't know what to look at. They've got, so I know I just listed off like 5 different things, but they've all got Google Analytics, but they have no idea what to do with it. They can look at vanity metrics sometimes, but to actually make use of it, I think a lot of them don't know what they should be doing with it.
Well, that's a great point. And this is where if you're watching or listening to this and you have a perspective, I want to invite you to text Derik, 832-240-1922. Tell us why you might not be measuring the science of marketing. We'd love to hear from you because I hear all the time, like marketing teams specifically, it's like they get the pressure from the C-suite. It's like, we need to see the performance of marketing. We need to prove the value of marketing.
Yeah.
And that's where the science of marketing can help to eliminate the pressure that a lot of marketing teams feel from the C-suite to prove the value of marketing. I think, and that's the risk in and of itself. It's like, if we just look at the art of marketing, that's one half of the equation, but then there's also the science, and the science is even getting deeper into not just measuring performance, but measuring behavior. It's the behavior of the prospects visiting a financial brand's website and how that directly does go on to influence the things that matter to the C-suite, i.e. loans, deposits, assets. So, which begs the question, what does this look like to practically integrate the science of marketing within the practice of marketing in a financial brand when it comes to leveraging loan deposit growth?
Yeah, it starts with conversion funnels. You basically just need to know how many people are coming in the door at the top of the funnel. And more specifically, the easiest place to start with that is your website, because your website is your most important digital marketing asset. Because no matter what you're doing for digital marketing, if you're doing SEO or if you're doing advertising on the different platforms, ultimately that traffic is flowing. People are seeing those ads, they're seeing your content, they're coming to your website as a result of that to evaluate if they want to do business with you or not. So if we start by thinking for the website, to begin with, you just need to know how many people are coming to your website and how many people are actually converting, taking the actions that you want them to take. So let's talk about it for a particular product. So let's talk.
I guess I want to pause on that, because you talk about the conversion funnels, and is this something to be looking at the macro level, like just all traffic coming into the site? Or when you talk about conversion funnels, are conversion funnels down to a particular product line or a product type? Like, for example, auto, but then you could take auto and separate auto out where you've got auto new, auto used, auto refi.
Yeah.
Can you define conversion funnel further for those watching or listening?
Yeah. So ideally, you're doing it at a product level because it becomes more actionable at that point. If you're just looking at it on an entire website level, and it's not to say that you shouldn't do that, but if you're just saying, these are all of the people who visit our website, and these are all of all of the actions and all the conversions they took, that you can do that on a macro level to see how you're doing overall. Like, sometimes we want to see what percentage of people come to your website are getting to your product pages, all of them. That can be useful. Go ahead.
That makes sense. And I want to roll back to something, and then you can give a very practical example here. You talk about the role that the website plays in the buying journey.
Yeah.
You're talking from digital marketing, whether it's SEO, PPC, display ads, all that traffic funneling in. But we've also looked at this from the larger macro journey too, because the role that the website plays in regards to conversion, even if that conversion happens at the branch level, for that matter, will directly influence. So there's even the funnel that goes all the way down to the branch from a conversion standpoint, because 85 to 92% of people will come to the website before they even walk to a branch. If, and there's a big if they walk into a branch at all. And
Right.
we're knowing, and for watching the data, the majority of the conversions for acquisition growth are coming from a digital first experience,
Right.
i.e. the website, which is where the e-commerce mindset, and we were talking about this before in our previous conversation, the idea of mindset and the role that belief plays. And so now it's like, okay, let's make this real practical when it comes to integrating the science of marketing down to a product line, focusing on a product line. What does that look like practically applied? What do we need to be measuring?
Yes, let's talk about auto loans. What a funnel looks like is you need to know how many people are coming to your auto loan page, how many of them are starting applications, and how many of them are completing applications at a minimum. You can go deeper than that. There are other things you could measure, like how many are interacting with a lead magnet that you had, or how many leads you're generating. So there are other things you can measure. And the ideal is you would even go beyond the number of applications completed and know how many are actually funded and what the dollar amount is. And there's a little bit of progress I think is happening in the industry there, but generally that's very difficult for most financial institutions to get. So what pretty much all of them can get right now and they need to have is number of people coming to a product page, number of people starting applications, number of people completing applications. And so what that tells you is usually that application is happening on a third party, like Meridian Link or Cuddle or something. But when you break it down into those steps, and there are lots of sub steps in the middle of those that you can look at, but what that basically will tell you is where is the opportunity for increasing our conversion rate. And they're really like there are three major parts to that. You can either increase the amount of traffic that you're getting to the product page, and that can come from the home page by like promoting something on the home page, or it could be direct traffic from ads, or the bottleneck you're looking for a bottleneck. So, or the bottleneck could be, well, we're getting people to the product page, but there aren't enough of them starting applications, which means there's a problem with the product page itself. Or you get lots of people that are starting applications, but they're not completing the application, which means there's a problem with the online application. That's the point of funnels, is to show you need to know how many people are actually converting overall, and breaking it down into those major steps. You find where there's a problem so you can then fix it.
So what I'm hearing is traffic, we'll call it clicks to apply, conversions on the application, and then even further, as you were mentioning before, going all the way down to funded and or approved.
Yep.
But coming back up to the idea of that point of click or call to action, we have seen that there are three different levels. You mentioned the lead magnet, for example, and not just the application to apply.
Right.
I like to call them primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary being apply or open the account. Secondary being request a callback, which is still a conversion point, because there are some people who need to talk to someone. They might have questions before they have the courage to click the apply button,
Right.
Or the confidence to complete it. Or there could be even higher up, we call it the tertiary or the clarity CTA, which is like the lead magnet. The we'll use the download the auto buying guide. And so it's for someone who's early on in that buying journey, each one of these directly influencing the next point of the buying journey. So you have like these different stages of conversion. And the question then is, where's the bottleneck? Where's the friction? And what do we need to do to eliminate that friction to get more pull through for whatever the next step, next stage is?
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's important that you're highlighting is the difference between art and science is measurement. If you're not measuring the success of your website and you're only thinking about uh, what it looks like, and if it wins awards, you're thinking of it like a piece of art, like it's in an art show. And
Mm.
I like art. Art's great. Uh, but when the success of your organization depends on it, it's not enough just to look at it and say, yeah, it looks pretty. This is great. It needs to actually produce results. And so how you go from art to science is measurement, measuring the impact that your marketing is having. And that's why conversion funnels are really the first major step they need to take to get that measurement in place.
I like the art show analogy. It reminds me actually of my kids. We have the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo down here. And the kids, they're in their classes and they draw their little rodeo picture. And if they're selected, they go in and they get to, get free tickets to the rodeo. And one of our kids was selected one year. And so we're there, we're looking at all the art. And my question was, well, who's the judge?
Yeah.
Who's the judge? Like, what is the judging criteria?
Right.
And I think that is the whole point that you're trying to communicate, is the judge of whether or not your website looks good or not is not you within marketing. It's not even your executive team. It's not your board of directors. It's your prospective account holders. And the way that we can measure whether or not it quote unquote looks good is not the aesthetics. It's the actual performance, which is, as we wrap up, what is one small, simple thing that someone watching or listening can do today? What's a test that they could even look at running themselves to say, hey, like, okay, I hear you. We need to integrate more science into our marketing. Art is important, but we need to integrate more science into this as well to get a better understanding of how our website's performing down to a product line level. What can someone do?
Yeah. And you mentioned testing, and I think we should come back to that another time, because you should be doing testing on an ongoing basis. And that starts to get a little more involved. But the thing that you should do right now is set up conversion funnels. And that's exactly why we built Metrify, is because we've been working with financial institutions for a long time now. We went through this journey of, it being about art and making the websites beautiful. And again, I still think that's important, but as a means to an end, we initially were using tools like Google Analytics and DataBox to map conversion funnels. And those are great tools, but we built Metrify specifically for doing this with financial institutions. And then what we found is we'd map conversion funnels, and then we'd be like, great, that's the funnel. Is it good or is it not good? And the way that we found that we can answer that question best is by benchmarking it, comparing it to other financial institutions that we work with to say, well, you're average, or you're above average, or you're below average. So what Metrify does is, first, all you have to do is sign up and register with Google. Just register, connect Google Analytics. Literally takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops to do that. And then Metrify will actually do the work of setting up the conversion funnels for you, and then also compare your conversion funnels with other financial institutions that are on Metrify. So then you've got a benchmark to say, well, this is how our conversion funnels are doing, and this is how that compares with other financial institutions. Oh, look, here's a bottleneck, something that we need to improve. So I think that's step one, getting your conversion funnels set up. And obviously I'm biased, but I think we've made a pretty easy and powerful way to do that with Metrify.
Well, I mean, this is actually connecting some dots back to my second book, Banking on Change. because we talk about the 4 steps that lead to transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first step that leads to a transformation is to simply see things from a different perspective. And what you're speaking to here provides that clarity, it provides that sight, it provides that vision into objective performance, not subjective art, but objective performance. So it removes any ambiguity. And thank you. See,
Yeah. Oh, good.
As much speaking as I do, I still get tongue twisted
Everyone
on
does.
some words.
Yeah.
That word right there, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate the perspective, and we're going to continue this conversation because I think we're really opening up something that I see is so important for the next level of digital growth for financial brands, which is blending the two worlds between art and science. And then our next conversation getting into, well, how do we do that?
Yeah.
We've got some very practical steps here. So let's keep this going, dude.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
As we start to wrap up, if you're ready to move from decoration to optimization, my friends over at Metrify have you covered. Text me right now, 832-240-1922, and I'll show you how you can get custom insights to improve your website, all without having to rip everything up and start over.